I know you're busy.
No, no,
So
no. Trust me. I look at me. I'm turning my stuff off because I like hanging
yeah.
out with you guys. Because I would rather do this any day of the week and talk to you guys and just explain, the testimony. I know people are afraid of this stuff, and I know
Yeah.
people expect to win every single day, but that's not what you're supposed to be looking at. That's not the long-term goal. You have to, you can preach all you want on YouTube and about the coaching, but that doesn't mean people are going to believe you, and
No,
people are going to
exactly.
believe in what you say. And
Yeah.
it just, and I told you along, if there's anything I could do for you guys,
Hmm.
because you guys are the most genuine people I think I've ever seen
Hmm.
in this type of industry.
Yeah, no,
So,
we definitely appreciate that. Go
so
ahead.
go ahead. I'm sorry. I mean, you and I could talk for days. So
Yeah, we could sit here and talk for hours, that's for sure. But I'll go through the questions here, and then you just go off the top of your head and just
yeah, throw
just
them at me,
answer the
man.
questions for you. All right. So first one's going to be where were you before us, and what did you try before you became a part of our coaching program?
So before you guys, I had tried multiple different people, whether it was, just because it was, someone calling me, because once you start betting on, any of these places, you get massive phone calls, massive emails, it
Hmm.
just becomes overloaded. And it's everybody and their mother. And I didn't know the industry that well, years ago. So I tried different people. I tried things where it was, this amount of price for this. You can just get picks. And but the thing was, I didn't understand exactly what was being provided to me. I just understood that it was a pick. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know everything about sports. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know everything about what I was doing. I understand the games, but that there's a lot more to this. And I really did not, and I really wanted to just find someone that could explain things to me and really teach me what I need to look for. And it doesn't
Hmm.
have to be the greatest thing ever. It doesn't have to be, you know, where I'm looking for making. I got to win 95% of my. Sorry, that's not going to happen. And I wasn't looking for that. I wanted someone to be honest and upfront with, this is how it is. I can explain things to you. And then I found you guys. I
Hmm.
watched you guys. I grabbed a few picks once a month or two just to try it out. But then you guys started talking. I started watching your YouTube videos and just listening. And your mindset, at least the way you guys taught the mindset, was the same way that I had been. I just needed to know how to be better information wise to give myself a better chance. And I
Hmm.
was tired of, I still to this day, I swear, beginning of college football and NFL, I get more text messages than Carter has liver pills on a daily basis. I still do. And, they would say, oh, 5-star pick today, the whale of a pick, you'll never have this in 10 years. Okay. Well, I still don't understand why people do that. And so many people are sales tactics. They use sales tactics. Sometimes they actually are brutal. I've been called multiple names, like saying that I'm just a wuss. I can't do this and that. And I'm like, are you serious? That's how you sell?
Yeah, they think like the
And
aggressive approach is going to
oh,
get you to to
oh
buy
my
something.
God, like I've never seen that. And then I tried you guys, and I wasn't scared or worried or anything like that. And the greatest thing about with you guys is I learned information. I learned about what I was trying to accomplish. And I learned how to do it in a step-to-step process. It wasn't I was told to pick this because of this.
Hmm.
I was taught how to find information. I was taught how to use information, and then I was taught how to apply the information. Those three things right there, you will never find. I have never seen in the last 10 years anybody ever
Hmm.
try and do that. And no one and people will say, and this is on the radio too, like, hey, you can get this, or our 7 picks go 7-1, or we buy, that's fine and dandy, but I wanted to learn how to do it for myself. I
Hmm.
was tired of listening to someone and not understanding what I'm doing, and you guys really provided that. And I feel so much better now, and I still watch the videos, and I still go back and try and learn, hey, am I missing something? But it's a process to where I know I can do it myself. I'm not worried about it. I'm not afraid of it. And not once have I, even good days, bad days, horrible days, great days, my mindset still stays the same. It's a
Mhm.
process. I'm going to continue to get better. I'm going to continue to work at it. And that's what you need to do. And, it's been reassuring. And I know other people out there might think, they don't trust somebody because they don't win every time. Well, you're not going to win every time. You're never going to win every time. It's impossible.
Mhm.
But, having you guys and what you guys are doing, like being on Discord, being on Facebook, being on people's phones, talking through things, no one else is willing to give their time.
Mhm.
And your price that what you guys did, and I know this is, people are like, well, I'm paying you, I should win every time. No, you're paying to learn.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I have done so many things in my life where I was just doing a training down in Florida. I paid to go down there and get training because I want to keep learning.
Mhm.
If you're not learning, then you think you know everything. And that's just not who I am. I'm going to always want to learn more. And, you know, I have learned more from you guys in 6 months than I have in the last 20 years. And I've been around it my entire life. And
Yeah.
it's just awesome. And I don't go against it. I don't go, well, I'm gonna make this bet because I have a gut feeling.
Yeah. No,
I'm not
exactly.
gonna do that. So yeah, I couldn't thank you guys enough for just being who you were. And if I was wrong, you guys were like, hey Sean, this is what you missed, you know, and then go through that process. No one else is gonna
Mhm.
do that.
No,
And that's why
exactly.
I couldn't ask for better people to talk to, learn from, interact with,
Mhm.
and just have great conversations with, because you guys and your team is just bar none one of the best people, some of the best people I've ever seen in my life. So
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that because that's really like we literally day and night we're like trying to figure out how to make it better, and how to help people more. Like literally, it's day and night. Like I'm telling you, it's day and night. We're trying to figure out like how can we reach people more? How can we like break the mindset? How can we, make everybody understand? Because here's the thing, like you said, like with training and like schooling and stuff like that, people don't understand. Like they pay for that stuff as well, but
yeah,
you go to school, you don't get instant, results going through a class. Like you go through training, it's not like halfway through the training you're making money at what you're getting trained at. Like that's just, in
you
real life
don't.
that doesn't happen. Exactly. Like you go through your training and then you learn the trade and then you go out and then you're able to, make money
Yeah,
from it. Like that's the way
and
it goes.
an education system now, if you look at the education system, education is all about memorization.
Hmm.
You didn't teach me to memorize things. You taught me how to confirm, find the information, apply the information, and then use, and then have that information available to me. The school's not like that.
Yeah,
And you're
exactly.
paying to memorize what the 19th president of the United States is. I got
Hmm.
Alexa. I can just ask her. I can look up on Google. You know, but that's just memorization. You didn't teach me how to memorize stuff. You taught me how
Yeah.
to find information. And now, how can I take that information and apply it to what I'm doing? And
Yeah, exactly.
worth every penny. And
Mm.
it's, in this day and age, I know people are like, well, why can't you just provide that? Well, what's your time worth?
Yeah, exactly. Hmm.
You just said the thing that makes the most sense is I'm sitting here day and night wondering how do I reach you guys, and
Hmm.
you guys since I've joined, you guys have done more with Facebook. You have done with you use messaging. You've added Discord. You've added new programs. You know, you're doing so much more.
Hmm.
You know, it comes to that sense of, these people have to understand. Listen, you have to want to change.
Yeah,
If you don't
exactly.
change and you want to stay the same, then you're going to go down the same path. You have to
Yeah,
understand,
that's
you have to
yeah,
want to
that's the
change,
way it is.
yeah, to be better for yourself.
Hmm.
I took on, this is before you guys, and I tried this one guy, but then after learning from you guys, this goes back to the same question. This is a cool story, but it's just interesting to how the mindsets are different.
Hmm.
He wasn't expensive, and I never ever bitched about anything about, excuse my language, but about the idea of paying for something, because if they're really doing work and things behind the scenes, people deserve money.
Hmm.
People deserve to make a living in any way, shape, form. But this guy was very cheap. It was 250 or 49.99 for 2 years. His picks are very simple. It's one or two picks maybe a day. That's it. Nothing crazy.
Hmm.
So after working with you, though, I still had him, but I never really used his picks. But it was funny. I one day I wanted to ask him. I emailed him. I'm like, how, can you tell me the games you've played and you've kept track of, and what have we, all these things that you teach us to do, right?
Yeah.
And his first response, and I'll never forget this, was very simple. It was, I don't keep track of that anyways, because if I told anyone, they'd call me a liar anyways. And then he's like, no one ever cares what I do anyways because they think I'm gonna lie to them. He just went through all this stuff that it's like, you know, I keep track of everything. I keep track of everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
Um, and it was just funny to hear someone that he's like, he's just so negative on, well, they're not gonna believe me anyways. I don't keep track of my picks.
Yeah,
I'm like,
like that negative mindset I don't understand because it's like with us, even with everything that we do that we're doing,
right,
like we still get the negative mindset from
yeah,
everybody. But it's like our mindset behind that is still like, how do we break it? You know, how do we
yeah.
break them? How do we make them understand? How do we make the general public start switching and their mindset start switching and make them understand how to do this the right way? Not just be like, like, oh well, they're not gonna believe me anyway, so it's whatever.
Well,
Like I
but it was
can't.
just it was interesting to hear that because other people want to know. And you told me something a couple months ago. Some guy was talking to you, and it's like, well, this guy offered me, said I'm going to win this much, every day. And he's like, well, what are you going
Mhm.
to do for me? And you're like, well, I'm not going to be able to do that because I'm not guaranteeing you nothing. I'm going to teach you
Yeah.
how to figure out how to do this, and
Hmm.
that's what I'm trying to present to you. Not, hey, I'm gonna get you 5-star wins every game.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm
No,
sorry,
exactly.
but you're not going to do that. And that's that just drives. But yeah, that I had to tell you that story because I thought it was very funny. Like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
that and that's right there. I would tell people the same thing. Like, listen, you're not lying about where you're going with what you do.
Yeah.
You're putting it out there for people to see, and you're like, listen, this is how we did. This is my monthly
Mhm.
report.
Mhm.
Yeah, no one else does that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but if people can say what they want about their reports and things like that. You actually back it up with data, and I
Mhm.
could go back and look at the games, and tell you like, hey, I bet 15 of those too.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same process. You take the same process, and it's just an
Exactly.
interesting thing.
And like
But
I
yeah,
understand why a lot of people don't do it too because it's hard to go on and admit like losses. It's really hard because like honestly like when we had a lost month in February. I think it was February. So February we had a lost month. This was like one of the rare months that we didn't turn a profit. So and it was small too. I think it was like minus like 1 or 2 units. But it's so hard to like go on there and put that in front of everybody and be like, hey, we didn't win this month. Like we didn't take a profit
right,
this month. That's what happened. Like it's hard to do that. And I understand why nobody does it because you go on there and you feel like an idiot going and telling everybody like, yeah, we didn't
right,
turn a profit this month. But like the way I see it is like I'm being truthful, like you need to get used to losing. You want to be a part of this game, get used to losing because that's
yeah,
what it is. You're going to lose. You're going
yeah,
to have maybe a month where you don't turn a profit. That's the way it goes. Maybe you'll spend all day and night, all week long researching, doing all the searching that you need to do, and you lose.
you
It
still lose.
happens. Yeah, exactly. It happens. Like there's nothing you can do about that. And
No,
it's tough for people.
it's just understanding that mindset, that if you have a great mindset, your
Hmm.
mindset will be fine, if you're doing the right things. And that's all you really have to do at the end of the day.
No, exactly. True. Now, it's the next question that I want to ask too, so that we can talk about this too, is when you first started and you started going through everything, what was like the first win that you got where it like clicked and you're like, oh, I'm enjoying this. Like this, okay, maybe this works.
It was actually a weekend with UFC.
Mm-hmm.
Where the week before, actually, I'd won a lot in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball, I had a good run for a while, and then, I lost a few UFC, and I think you and I were having a call like in a week, and then I won a few more, but I didn't try and go find a game to bet because I wanted to make money back. It wasn't about that, and it really clicked in my mind, that I think the next 3 days I won a few, lost a few, won a few, but it wasn't anything crazy. But I'm like, listen, when I kept track of my stuff with other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you it was like at 48%, 46%, 52%, for I could tell you that because I used to keep track of it myself, not with your system, which I liked way better than mine, where I actually had to do
Yeah.
math. But I can show you that I was at like a 58.9% winning percentage.
Hmm.
And right there, even though I took losses, I was still winning over what my average time was before.
Hmm.
And it was a few losses that really said, okay, I'm still at this percent, and I was still winning, I was still winning. It wasn't like I was winning 8 units a day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Of
it was the
course.
process of winning that 1 unit or that half of a unit. And then it really clicked in my mind, and seeing those numbers and really understanding that this works. And then, it took me 2 months where I was feeling a lot more comfortable. And then the college football came around. My first 14 plays, I won all 14.
Hmm.
Like I was
I think
just,
I
and
remember that. I think I remember
yeah,
you telling me
I was
that.
on fire. Like I couldn't lose, but it didn't bother me that I lost a few other ones after that.
Hmm.
Like I never even blinked an eye. I
Yeah.
just followed the process. And I followed the process of, if I don't have 3 checks for today in an early game, then so be it. If I have
Hmm.
two, and the money line and the money action, or the action line is, like 50, 60%, okay, I'll bet that. And if not, I don't need to play it. And I
Yeah.
felt like
Exactly.
I'm not worried about it. It wasn't.
Hmm.
And that's really that first week of college football, and then losing a few again. It was actually losing that made me really feel like, you know, okay, it's still working.
Hmm.
So what if I lost a few? It's still the numbers do not lie. It's not going to tell you something different. And that's what really helped me. And then talking to you the first 3 times, you're like, and I'd ask you questions and you'd answer them. You weren't
Hmm.
trying to sway me in a different way. You're just saying, hey, it's a process. Follow the process. Do this. And how many times did you and I talk where I had a negative, idea or negative
Hmm.
thought in my head? I think one day I think I was frustrated like one day, but I don't think it was because of betting. I think it was something else. And I'm like, listen, I'm not frustrated with that at all. And it just, I found that to be so reassuring that I could see what I was doing myself.
Hmm.
And then I could see where I was years ago, where I could see the difference of, well, these are what people were doing. And I didn't even understand what I was doing. And this is me, and I'm actually better than what
Yeah.
they are. Like
Hmm.
right there, that's a light bulb. Like I'm better than them. And they're the ones
Hmm.
that I'm supposed to be paying.
Hmm.
That doesn't really make sense to me. I'm like, I'm I shouldn't be better than you if you're paying. I mean, it's like that shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, that's what
So
I'm saying. Like
and
you eventually start becoming the person better than what they are. So that's
yeah,
what's that's what's good.
yeah, and I don't, I'm not gonna bet like they're like, oh yeah, you need to bet like 40, like $500 or 1,000 right now. I'm like, really? I'm
Yeah.
like, but you probably win at a 48% rate, just right at that 50 mark where I feel okay, but I'm not okay.
Hmm.
And that's what I started noticing, and it really helped to see the difference. And I wrote down other things too. I wrote down, like another pick, like that one service I had for two. I mean, like I said, I don't even use it. It's still there. I don't
Yeah.
even touch it, but I kept track of that too. And I kept track of those plays, and I didn't play them, but I just wanted to
Hmm.
see the difference between if I'm doing it and they're
Yeah.
doing it. And I
Hmm.
was ahead
Yeah.
by what I was doing and not what they were doing in your process. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's where it should tell you right there, your process works. Even if you have a bad day, you're gonna have bad days.
Yeah.
Understand that
Exactly.
process, and it's okay. But I like I told you, I feel I could go do it right only because I've been so big.
Yeah.
So, and I feel totally fine. Like I'm not worried about how to do it at all. I'm not like, I'm that confident in myself to be like, okay, I can go get all these numbers real quick. I can go through the process faster. I write everything down. Um, then I go back and I check it again. Like it doesn't affect me. Like before, 4 months ago, yeah, I'd be like, oh God, all right, I got to do this process. But now in my brain, it's in there,
Hmm.
and I know exactly where I want to, if I want to do. And that's why in the next, 6 months, I really want to see how I do myself,
Yeah. Exactly.
but without any help or anything like that, because I really feel I'm confident. Like I said, I've just been traveling so much. When you're on
Yeah.
a plane and doing all that, hard to concentrate on that stuff. That's why daily fantasy has been really fun to me, because I can
Yeah,
just do that real quick, figure out who I want on my number, on the cores and all that stuff,
hmm,
and I'm good. I'm golden. So,
that's
um,
good.
but I couldn't have asked for a better understanding of this, and where I was and where it clicked for me
Hmm.
was, after the first couple weeks of really understanding that process and really seeing it for 3 months. And you just said it
Yeah.
earlier. You have to follow the process. You
Yeah,
know,
because I mean, people don't even realize that even if you just turn a profit, over a month, if you just turn a profit, you're doing like something that like 99% of the sports bettors out there can't even do. They can't even stay literally disciplined enough throughout a whole entire month to bet
right,
consecutively throughout the whole entire month to even see it out to see a profit.
right.
And when you're doing that and you prove that, then you're like, well, like I'm doing something literally that like the 1% of sports bettors are doing. So
Yeah.
that's
And
what, yeah, that's what I love to hear. Like when you like say stuff like that, because that's like, yeah, you're better. You're better than all those guys with the big services because
yeah.
you're getting better numbers than them. So
And I did. And I kept track of all of them. And it was funny, because I'm like, there's no way I'm doing better. And I was. I mean,
yeah.
I had one guy, this is a year and a half before you. I think that guy hit probably 8%. I started betting against him.
Hey,
I mean, I swear to God, I did. After 2 weeks, I'm
Jesus.
like, I'm gonna bet whatever you say opposite,
Yeah, they
because
might as well. I know if it's
that's
hitting it
bad.
like that.
Yeah, I mean, and he's like, I'm like, I'm gonna go opposite way of you, and I kept track of that, like, because that was one thing you're never gonna know or understand where you're at until you keep
Mhm.
track of it.
Exactly. And like I've
And
even had people like guys that have come on and like they've come in the coaching program and they have like a strategy of their own that they think works and everything like that. And I tell them right off the bat, I'm like, well, have you tracked this for about a year? And they're like, no, I've tracked it for
yeah,
about like a month or two. And I'm like, you need to track that stuff for like a year or 2 years, 2 or 3
understand.
seasons. Like you got to have like a lot of stuff to back that up to see if that works, throughout years and through seasons. Like
Right.
anything can work for 2 months. I can flip a coin and that can work for 2 months. Like,
I can go play roulette for 2 months, and I
yeah,
might have the
exactly,
hottest 2 months of my life,
exactly.
betting red
Hmm.
only. But that eventually you're going to come back down to earth.
Yeah,
All of us have
no,
had hot
exactly.
days. All of us, it's that process where it's like you you really know who you are when you're faced with adversity. Well,
Hmm.
adversity can be described in different manners. Adversity in this industry, in this type of field, or different idea, or what this is you lose, and you
Hmm.
lose today, and you lose tomorrow, and then somehow you lose the next day. And then people start, they're faced with adversity, and they're like, well, I'm done, I can't do that. His process sucks. Well,
Hmm.
you tracked it for 3 days.
Yeah, no,
So what?
exactly.
You had 10 days before that, you didn't lose. Like, I had that. I literally didn't lose for 2, 3 weeks. And
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
then
and then I had a
exactly, and
bad
then
couple days.
that's where the mentality comes in. And, you got to switch the mentality up and it'd be
Yeah.
like, whoa, wait, I won like 2 weeks like prior consecutive weeks, and like even if I lost every day this week, I still won the 2 weeks prior.
Yeah.
And you
And
only
I
know
was,
that by tracking it. You can only see that by tracking it, looking at it on paper. Because mentally, if you're not tracking the stuff and you're just thinking mentally, like you'll be crushed because when those consecutive days come, like if you're losing, it just
yeah.
destroys you mentally. And it's tough. That's the way it is.
And that's where I learned, is I saw what everyone else I did in my past times, and I'm like, I outdid them.
All right, so I'll get to the last question that I want to ask
Yeah.
you. So this one's going to be how did we originally get in touch with you and how'd you find us and then what made you really pull the trigger? Well, like when you wanted to join, like really made you, be like, all right, I'm going to do this with them.
Well, actually, you guys, I thought it was an accident when you, when you contacted me, because you guys contacted me because I had been on your Facebook stuff, and followed you guys and all that stuff, and you guys actually reached out to me. Um, and the thing was, I was like, was this an accident? Because remember, I told you the Facebook thing, I unsubscribe and subscribe
Hmm.
all the time
Yeah, I
because my
know the
stupid
button.
button. Well, I thought I hit it, and then that's why you guys contacted me. I'm like, that's really weird. Like, no, I didn't unfollow you. What's going on? Like, I thought it was like, not realistic,
Hmm.
because I've seen you guys talking about the stuff, but I'm like, okay. But the reason why I did it is because how I think it was it Matt that I spoke to.
Yeah,
I
I
believe
think
it was
so.
Matt,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
Matt was very, this is the process we take, Sean. This is how we do it. He's like, I'm not trying to tell you anything, and he didn't try and tell me, because I've heard, trust me, I've heard everything, and
Hmm.
he didn't try and sell me anything. He was like, listen, we're gonna try and teach you. We're gonna try and make you a better person, better player, or better. I don't know the exact language he used, and it was pretty simple to me because you guys offered something that I've heard 1,000 different times from other people, but you
Hmm.
offered information, you offered teaching, you offered education. That's a whole different world. And I told you this months ago,
Yeah.
no one. And that's why I pulled say trigger and I went and did that because you guys offered something no one else has ever offered. Everyone offers their advice, everyone offers their picks, everyone offers that I'm going to win or this is what's going to happen. You guys didn't offer that. You offered the education.
Yeah.
And people have to understand that knowledge is power in a lot of different ways. And you guys offered knowledge over just telling me what to do.
Hmm.
And that was way more beneficial to me. Like even me, I have my own files now that I've made of me doing, well, I made a mistake on this day, or I've made why did I make this mistake? Ah, crap, I looked too quick,
Hmm.
or I did not look at the action numbers before the game because I had something come up at work, and that's my fault, and I take responsibility, but I can't blame other people for that because I learned what to do. And if I
Hmm.
make the mistake, that's my fault. And I pulled that trigger because I believed in who you guys were.
Hmm.
And the one thing that I could say is the genuine opportunities that you guys presented was just a way for me to learn how to be better. And I couldn't ask for anything more because that's all I've ever wanted is
Yeah.
opportunity. And I told you my mindset, my mind was strong. My
Hmm.
mind was strong on how I was and how I react to losing and things like that. I wasn't worried about my mindset. I was worried about, how do I do this?
Yeah.
I don't know how to really do this. And you guys offered that. And just talking with you, even though it was very limited, it wasn't like, hours upon hours. You answered questions, you offered advice, and you were there for me. And you don't, even though I'm paying you, trust me, I've done that a lot in my life with other things, and they don't care. They
Yeah.
don't care to answer my question. They don't care to be there all the time. Last time I checked, you have a life, right? I mean, you do
Yeah.
other things
Yeah.
besides, just this, right? You know, and you guys, I can't recall ever, even on Discord, right? You guys talk and answer and are there for. I'm not going to say your customers because you don't feel like a customer.
Hmm.
To me, it didn't feel like that. It felt like part of your team,
Yeah.
and you were there to answer questions about your team for your team.
Hmm.
No one else will ever do that. I don't
Yeah.
care. I've dealt with stuff for 10 years and I've never seen anything like this. And that's why I did it because I felt like you guys were going to
Hmm.
provide that person to be there, and you did. You did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. I told you that, what you guys have done is better and bigger for this industry than anyone else will ever talk about because people are so afraid of this industry. People are
Hmm.
afraid of it in different ways because they're afraid of people, that are sitting in your seat that are providing this information, but they're not providing it in the way you provide it.
Yeah.
And you guys did, and that's why I'm like, I didn't worry about that at all. I paid, and I have never questioned that. And for other people to understand, make other people, if you have wives, if you have husbands, make sure they understand that too. Make sure that people understand you're not doing this because you're trying to be a gambler. Like, trust me, my father, he's an addict. He was an
Hmm.
addict. He just gambled in money. I don't. I do it as a process because this world, you can do things if you are smart about it and you're healthy about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Be healthy about what you're doing, not what you're trying to accomplish something and go out and buy a Ferrari and stuff like that. I'm sorry, that's not why I do it. So,
Hmm.
I mean, to me it wasn't like that, and I couldn't have asked for a better team to be with you guys, and that's why I thank you guys so many darn times. So, and
I
I'll
know you
continue
do.
to do that. So, just because I learned, and
Yeah.
learning is way more important to me than anything else. And I don't care if you're 18, you're 20, you're 12, you're
Yeah.
50, it doesn't matter. You can learn if you just take the time to listen and
Hmm.
listen to what you guys teach. And trust me, I'm not done. I can't wait to see where I go and how
Hmm.
I do it. But I feel a billion times more confident than I did 6 months ago in June when freaking baseball was the only thing we had. So, you know,
Good.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
I like.
I appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Like I said, this really helped out by you jumping on, being able to tell us how it went and everything like that. It's really solid. Like I said, you're one of the guys that are in there that are always been, positive mindset, always active, everything like that. So, it's been really good. And I've enjoyed it.
Oh, I have. There isn't anything that I haven't. Like I said, I've really, really loved a lot of the things that I learned that I never would have learned from anybody else.
Yeah.
And people might have different strategies, like you said. People do. So why can't you learn another one? Why
Yeah,
can't you
exactly.
understand how to do this other process and really see where it goes? And I know people, I've seen in Discord where people make bets like 6 hours before the game, and I'm like, I don't understand that.
I know.
Uh, but it's because, and we talk about this all the time at work too, is it's because you've already developed a habit
Hmm.
and no one has taught you how to create better habits.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is one of the hardest things to do, is you are trying to break habits, and breaking a person's habit when they have negativity in their lives or something happens when they lose or something like that, they always
Hmm.
revert back to their most negative, their most formed habits.
Yeah,
And then
always.
and their formed habits are to be negative or to not believe. And to me, that's why my mindset was so strong, as I'm like, I don't care about any of that stuff, I'm going to be better overall.
Hmm. Yeah, of course.
So again, that's why I did it, because you guys are legitimately real people.
Yeah.
You're not just a person that's sending someone a text message or anything like that.
Yeah, like I said, trust me, we care. That's why I said like we spend day and night trying to figure out, how to perfect it, get it, better and better and better for everybody. So how to break people's mindset. Cause I think that's honestly, I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest thing is people have to have an open mind, and you got to be able, if you have a habit, a bad habit, you got to be able to break them. Got to be
Yeah,
able to figure out a way to, get rid of it.
like I said, there's no one I've ever seen that has done what you guys are trying to do, and
Yeah.
you guys have worked your tails off to help all of us. And there's nothing better than me doing something like this for you guys, because if anyone ever asks me, if you ever need anyone to talk to Sean, and he'll tell you, and he'll be legitimate, he won't lie to you.
Yeah.
I'll tell
Yeah.
anyone, listen, this is real. And I'm not a person that's saying, oh, I made $1 million. I'm
Yeah.
not. It wasn't about that for me, and it's about what you guys showed me, how you guys talked to me, how you guys
Hmm.
presented information. You couldn't ask for better people,
Yeah.
and you and your team are amazing people. So
Thanks.
if anyone ever asks that, if they're ever on the fence or anything like that, listen, I'll talk to them for days, and I don't care,
Yeah.
because you guys deserve that, and you guys deserve a lot of praise for what you guys have done. You were more concerned with how do I feel, and how is it going for me, because you were
Hmm.
asking how it is for me, instead of, hey, did you play this, did you do this, you didn't do
Yeah.
that. You were trying to figure out what who I was and what was going through my struggles or my success. You didn't worry about what I was doing, and you're like, well, if you need questions answered, just ask, don't be
Yeah,
afraid to.
exactly. Yeah.
And I think right there is when I was like, man, you guys are just some of the best people out there.
Hmm.
Even if you're far away, it doesn't matter. Like I could feel like I could sit down with you at a bar and you and me would talk for like 20 hours about just straight everything about how this world is, how people
Yeah.
treat this industry. And if I had any advice to someone out there, right?
Mhm.
Um, my advice to them, you know, is just using the word trust and trusting you guys, trusting who you guys are as people, and
Mhm.
knowing you're not trying to steer people in a direction because of money. You're trying to help people develop a mindset and habits that make them better in doing this type of stuff. It's not just this. If
Yeah, exactly.
you guys are teaching them mindsets to better themselves, not just in this world, but in other
Yeah.
things.
Mhm.
And that would be my biggest thing is trust in who you are as people, because you guys are great people.
Mhm.
And there's nothing better that I've seen out there, nothing better than in this industry, because there's not.
Mhm.
There's not been people that are like you, that are like, I talked to a guy once. He spent about $10,000 on picks,
Mhm.
and the guys were actually, what he was doing, the guys were actually pretty good, but then all of a sudden he lost everything. And their mindset was, well, you win tonight, you bet 50% the next day. That's how
Ugh.
heavy that he got to about 20 grand and then lost it all in 2 days or 3 days or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And he blew it all. And I asked him, I said, did you at least ask them, if they're, talk to them? And he's like, no, they disappeared. Once I lost, they were gone. And they
Wow.
just disappeared. And he lost, I think in total, 20 to 30, I think it was about 35,000, 30,000 in like a month or two. And I said, was it worth it? I said, did you learn anything? And he's like, no, I learned that I lost. Get that money back. And I said, yeah, you came out with it with that.
I
And
know. Wow.
but like with this, if I would have lost, and had a couple of days, you'd have been like, okay, Sean, why did we lose? Why'd you lose? And let's talk about
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
That's something no one else has ever done.
Yeah.
And that's why I praise you guys for everything, because you're good people. And at the end of the day, I trust a person over what they're teaching first, and I have
Mhm.
that's all. And I just appreciate everything you guys have done. So if there
Yes.
was anything I could say to other people, is the word trust. Trust in who you guys are as a family and as a team,
Mhm.
because you guys will show the same thing to all of us.
Yeah. Exactly. Thanks, Sean. I really appreciate that, though. That was, that's great.
Like I said, if you guys ever have anybody, I'm not asking for, like I said, just if anyone ever has like a mindset like, oh, I just don't trust this person.
Yeah.
I don't care. Talk to me. I will. I'll flat out tell them, you should trust this person. They're not
Yeah.
telling you something that's a lie. They're not trying to take your money. They're out for us. They're not out for
Mhm.
themselves. They're out for us. And people are like, well, they're earning money. Well, so I know people that earn hundreds of thousands of dollars for just helping people in this world.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
there you have to live, and people make a living doing things that are good too in this world. So,
Yeah. Exactly.
and I really appreciate that. And like I said, anything I can do, you let me know. I will be there for you guys, because I'm like, it meant that much to me,
Mhm.
because that feeling of what you guys have done wasn't about anything else, except for you guys made me feel like I was a part of something, I was learning something, and you will never get that anywhere else. So I'm just being flat out honest from the heart, not from anywhere else, not from money. I'm not talking from money, I'm talking about from what you guys did and how you guys made me feel. So
Cool. I appreciate it, Sean.
I appreciate it, man. If there's anything I can do, let me know.
All right. We'll be in touch. All right.
All right, man.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
See you. Bye.
Later.